opinions on our hearings. I'm going to start. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The four-way test of the things we say we do. One is the truth. Two is the law concern. Three will build goodwill and better friendships. Four will be beneficial to all concerned. They have us getting ready to wrap the story. It looks like it turned out to be good, so it's probably better for all of you. Okay, inspiration is Claudia here today. I heard Claudia. Here's the times with her phone. Yes, inspiration. Thank you, Claudia.
Put the camera on you. No pressure. Smile.
Well, let's see, I can read this. Every day is a fresh chance to live service above self. To notice a need, to roll up your sleeves and to say yes. Small acts done consistently become big change, and when we do them together, our impact multiplies. Let's leave today a little kinder, a little braver, and absolutely committed to making tomorrow better for someone else.
So we have a few visiting Rotarians. We have Bruce Billy from the Friday Club. And of course, we have our speaker, Trent Carpenter from the Wednesday Club. So welcome to them. And we also have a special visitor here today from Siskiyou. Am I correct? I think he's the CEO of the Siskiyou. So welcome to our community. I think it's Aaron Van Outen. And he's, yes, and he is here with, you want to say anything, Jennifer? Or yeah, Judy? Way above. Okay, welcome. We're happy that you're here. Is there anybody that I missed? Are there any other Rotarians or visiting Rotarians? It's wonderful to see a few faces we haven't seen for a while. So welcome. We're always happy to see those people here too as well. Announcements today. There's food in the back. And for those of you who know that we are bringing in food, thank you for that. It gets out to the food bank every day, and I don't know where we are in the competition. I don't see Patrice here, but that's okay. We're just bringing it in, doing good things, and that's the important thing. All right, once again, I'm going to put out a little yahoo to try to get people to come on Friday morning from 10 to noon for a carpet cleanup. So I decided to run it on a Friday. The reason is that we were having so many problems with trying to do a Saturday because there were so many good things going on in our community, including the clothing fair, and I really want to get it done before November 1st. So we are doing it on Friday, October 10th, from 10 to 12, and then we're going to go with the Eat at the Ground guys afterwards. And I have invited, we have 3 Interact students that are going to join us, and maybe a 4th. So it'd be a great opportunity for us to bond with some of our North Valley Interact students. So I'll hand this around. If anybody hasn't signed it, I would love to have you sign it because I'm going to keep harassing people because I really do want a lot of people to show up. I think we're sitting at 8 or 9, and if I can get 3 more people, that would be great. I don't put them on me. I do know where there was this one. You know how to do that? There's lots of hands over here. Oh. Anyway, so I'm going to send this around. If anybody's around and thinks they could make a Friday morning, that would be great. Okay, other announcements I have up here. Along the road, you should have received an email from Julie down at the city. There are several of us that are signed up on Saturday. Saturday work, I think, with the majority of us. So if you haven't received that, see me because I got it on my phone. I can tell you what the times that we signed up for. That's great. You'll notice that I'm wearing my shirt because I think this is a big community event. I would really like as many people. It's a great fun event. The weather should be perfect. We've sat out there at 100 degrees before and watched those poor street artists melt into the pavement, but this time it should be like 70 degrees, so it's going to be, it will be all nice and clean from the rain. They will have a nice surface to put down their art, so I hope sometime this weekend you get a chance to go to Art on the Road. I don't know if there's any other announcements. Anybody else have announcements they'd like to make? Come on up.
I just wanted to piggyback off the food bank. Evergreen's throwing their shed and feed on this Monday, October 6th, from 11 to 2. We'll bring up to 10 boxes, and every item you bring in will be matching $1 to all the donate. So, yeah, their hotel.
This
This Monday.
This
October
Monday.
6th.
October
It's
6th.
drive-through, so you don't have to get out of your car.
Okay, sure. And we also, that reminds me, there are a couple of things coming up in the community. At Art on the Road, Children's Museum is gonna have their parking lot open and have some cool things for that project that's coming up, and I don't know if Steve's online, but I want to thank him for putting that in the, so good information on that, and they're still looking for donors. They're having November 1st, they're having a, Ace Furniture. They always used to do the Monte Carlo, a big fundraiser. Well, they're not doing Monte Carlo, but they're doing a golf event inside of Gates Furniture, so they're gonna have all sorts of golf holes and things there, and the money that they raised is going for the Children's Museum. Last I checked, they were looking for whole sponsors, so if you want to be a part of that, for the museum, you can let me know, and I can get you in touch with those people who will be doing that. And of course, October 13th is the Empty Bowl, and that's at the fairgrounds, so if you go to Empty Bowl, you'll find that as well.
Both of us.
Okay.
So, announcement, Porch Fest is opened up as. Switch.
I did, apparently.
Yeah, your wife's not having one. Porch Fest is opened up as grant, application time, so if you know a youth organization that, would like to apply for the grant funding from Porch Fest, grant application is open now on the Porch Fest website.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. So on October 30th, we will be hosting a Halloween party at our house again, and everyone is invited. And we've already begun decorating. I've got the first 40 inflatables already up. Got ourselves a new 20-foot tall skeleton inflatable. It's kind of fun. And we're gonna have arrivals starting around 5:30. Dinner at 6:15, 7 o'clock, we're gonna have prizes for best dressed, worst dressed, most fun dressed, and all that stuff for costumes and all of that kind of good stuff. So we're very excited, and we'll have, of course, the address and how to get there to you, but for we're again very excited about hosting.
I really am very excited about going to the last year was a boring event. It was a lot of fun. This year is on the 30th. So any of you who have conflicts, it's Thursday the 30th. If any of you have conflicts with, I mean, personally, I had a lot of my previous students who come by my house, and last year I wasn't there, and they were mortified if I. Okay, so now I'll be able to be at my house on trick or treat night and go to the social and feel good about it. I don't know if this has already been announced a few times, but I want to remind everybody that WCSD is having Growler Guys on October 25th. Growler Guys is opening it up to us. It's going to be cornhole competition. It's going to be lots of gift baskets and things you can get a bid on, and they're giving almost all the money they make that night in drinks to WCST. I can't remember the exact amount. I think it's like 75% of it is real high. So should be fun. So come out and support us, please. Okay, so I'm not gonna say anything about committee work just because we're consolidating. You should hear from committee members. If you are interested in doing literacy, or I think it's the ethics and mock interviews, you do need to get registered through the high school. So you will need to go to the district, I believe, no?
That's new. For mock interviews, Tim, do we have to be registered?
For volunteer.
To volunteer.
Like the high school, I don't think you have to be registered.
No.
Oh, you don't have to? Okay,
No.
As,
okay,
to the high school, one-time mock interviews, no for the
okay,
registration.
thank you. Okay, I wasn't sure,
For
because I knew I
reading-
did it on, yes.
For reading with
For
the
reading,
kids, you have to go through the
continual.
background.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure. I just want to make sure that you didn't get halted at the door and told when you were signed up for mock interview. But if you're gonna do the literacy, you do need to go onto the district website. It's very easy to do. You can find it online. Anyways, but that's what you're interested in doing. You need to do that. Okay, a couple other little things before I start. I wanted to shout out to Steve Rowe for what he does with our navigator. Of course, he was the RCC Person of the Year. We are honored to have you as part of our Rotary. It's wonderful. He did a great job of updating the navigator. If you haven't on there, it's just a joy to read. So much good information on there. And then I want to give a little shout out to Doug because he doesn't choose his horn, but a good friend of mine happens to work at Gladiola. And she sent me some pictures of one of our Rotarians over there helping to build sheds for their program. And I think we need to give him a shout out that says thank you for what we're doing. Okay, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker, Trent Carpenter, who has also been very active in our community. He has been a president for 3 times for the Wednesday Rotary, which is wonderful because we know that's a true commitment.
Right.
Oh, Friday, he's Friday. Okay, that's right, early in the morning to go to work. I get it. Anyway, so he does a great job in the community, also doing the same thing, getting a lot of good things out there happening, and we do appreciate him. He comes from SOS, which is Southern Oregon Sanitation, where he is, if you read in the Navigator, he's worked for multiple years. It's in the family, it's in the blood. He started off as a grunt guy working all the way up to where he is now in management. So we should be very proud to have him here. He's here to talk a little bit about recycling, making our community a better place. And we all know recycling has kind of gone woo, woo, woo. So we're kind of anxious to know where we stand today. So Trent, come on.
Think, let me get this share going though. Give me a moment.
Lisa.
We'll see how well this works. Might have to click it over there. I just get that ready. Yes, I have been a president of the Friday Club 3 times, which just means I missed 3 very important meetings. I don't miss city meetings anymore.
Is it working?
Well, aim it at the computer.
Oh,
Over here.
over there.
And down button,
The down arrow?
down arrow.
Is it turned on?
Not you, it's a lift or anything.
I pushed both the up and the down and.
Now
Once you
turn
get the
around.
click is what you're gonna get to do.
Yeah, probably so.
They're not very complicated if you wanna sit there and finish eating your lunch. Yeah, it's nothing. Technology, that's the way it works out.
Yeah, it is, always have to have
I
that.
can tell you a little story. I actually took the little USB drive and took it to one of my office people and said, hey, can you put this in the computer and see if it works? They didn't trust me. They're like, what's on here? What are you doing to me, Trent? I said, no, it's okay. Don't call tech support.
Okay, I'm frozen, hang on.
Oh, and he's frozen. So, I will get going so that we have opportunities for questions at the end. Yes, I am in the Friday Club. I was a charter member of that club. Actually, when I got asked to be in the club, it was both Richard and Pat were part of the Wednesday Club, and they said, we have entirely too many of you people in this club, so we need to not have you here. Happened to be the same time that they were chartering the Friday Club, so I got asked to be over there, and now I'm here. To talk a little bit about Southern Oregon Sanitation, most of you know that we're here in the community. Harold did start the company back in 1947, so we are almost 80 years old. So we've been in this community picking up garbage and recycling for 80 years. And while I'm not quite 80, I feel all 80 again. We are family owned since the day Harold started the company back in 1947. Currently, we are absolutely into the 3rd generation. So Nick, Tina, Grant, and myself are the owners of Southern Oregon Sanitation. We bought it from Pat and Sue, and we bought out all the other family members, so we're pretty excited about that. It's not something easy to do, working with family and then trying to kick family out. If you ever see Pat, he'll tell you when I took over as general manager, I took his desk and put it somewhere in town and threw him out of the building. And he's not entirely wrong about that. We do have around 80 employees, both in Josephine and Jackson County, which are the areas that we service. I'm gonna have to look because I didn't have my cheat code up here. So to give you an idea, just in Josephine County, so these numbers are not Jackson County numbers, we pick up a little over 83 million pounds of garbage. That's a little bit of garbage.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that we have a whole other company, Republic Services, which is on this side of the river, so that's not all of Josephine County, that's just our area. We also almost pick up 2 million pounds of what we call commingle recycling, that's what we put in the carts. Kind of put out at the curb and it goes away.
Per year.
These are year numbers,
Okay.
yes, every year, year in, year out. And then for cardboard, we pick up almost 750,000 pounds of cardboard, and that's coming from our location there on Redwood Avenue. And then like businesses like this that just have cardboard containers. So there's a lot of material. To give you an idea of how many customers we service in Josephine County, we have a little over 14,000 curbside customers. So that includes the city of Grants Pass, Josephine County, and the city of Cave Junction. Number of customers, all these households were stocking out all the time, and that's why we have about 80 employees. 60 of those are about in Josephine County, about 20 in Jackson County, which we have another building and operations over there too. We started doing recycling really in Oregon in the early 90s. There was an initiative to try and do the right thing. So right when I was getting started, which was in 93, is when kind of recycling started taking off, and we were partners with Spark Enterprises. For those of you that have been around a long time, you'll hear that name. It actually changed to Aspire later on down the road, but it was Spark Enterprises. And at that time, and some of you that have a lot of experience will remember, you had a little blue bin that looked like a laundry basket, and you would put everything in that laundry basket, and then we would pick it up at the curb. And the amount of material that we could collect, the different kinds of material, was actually regulated by the length of the truck, because everything had to go in its own compartment. So glass had to go in this bin, plastic had to go in this bin, newspaper had to go in this bin. So it made it very challenging in that system to add anything to the system, because it could only be so long. Couldn't hook a trailer to it and a semi or anything else. Fast forward a little bit, around 2000, legislatively, they changed where development groups like Aspire could no longer have workshops. And they made it where it was not a feasible option anymore. So in 2000, our family built what we call the SOPAC, which is that large building there on Redwood Avenue, to make sure that we had the ability to take the material that we were getting curbside, put it into bales and be able to ship it up north, because you can't ship it loose. It's not a very effective way or efficient way to move material. So we built that facility. We actually got a grant from the Solid Waste Agency to help buy some of the equipment, and we invested about $3 million of our own to build the building. And now we have a state-of-the-art facility that can handle all the material that we pick up, and to be perfectly honest, can handle all the material in Josephine County. Which is a good thing, as now recycling is changing. Next. Sure. So before 2025, most of you knew, okay, we can do some of the plastics, and the neck's got to be smaller than the base, and you know, you do some paper, but not some other paper. We can do some cardboard, and that really had to do with where the end markets are. It's not, hey, the garbage companies don't want to pick up recycling, but there has to be a market at the end of it that's willing to buy it. That's where Oregon, and really out in front of most of any of the other states, said, hey, we need to change this, because it's kind of the tail trying to wag the dog. We need to make sure that manufacturers that are creating these products, that are putting all this packaging together, have some skin in this game. But it's not just the people that are paying the garbage bill that are subsidizing recycling. And we need to make sure that when they put the little triangles on a piece of plastic, that it can actually be recycled. And so it took about 2 or 3 years of a lot of meetings and a lot of legislative work to come up with the Recycle Modernization Act. And that act actually took effect a couple of years ago, but you're just now starting to feel it because they knew you can't just change this large of a system because it's going to be all of Oregon overnight. So that was the brochure you would have got from our company starting in about 2023 up until really a couple months ago. If we go forward, now these are the things that have been added to the statewide collection list. And a couple of the goals for the legislative changes were, one, no matter where you were in Oregon, they wanted the list to be the same. So if you lived in Portland for the most part, or you lived in Bend, or you lived in Klamath Falls, or you live in Grants Pass, you don't have to learn a whole nother way to recycle. It's going to be the same in Oregon. So they regulated the fact that on the curb, what any company picks up is going to be exactly the same. So that is now called the statewide collection list, and they have a lot of acronyms. I took all the acronyms out because they made up like 80 of them. The government's really good about creating acronyms. So, but what it added and what's really important are the polycoated cartons, the tissue paper packing, plastic tubs. We didn't have that before. You didn't think you could. You now have plastic buckets, pails, storage containers. It created an immense amount of things you can now recycle curbside. You can go all the way up to scrap metal. As long as it is about like no bigger than this, you can put scrap metal now in your curbside cart. These are all changes that they made throughout the entire state of Oregon. Now, some of you are looking at me like,
Yeah.
I've never heard this. It's understandable. This started this summer, and it started in Josephine and Jackson County. They haven't rolled it out completely statewide. So they're taking their time, as they like to call it, we're not flipping a switch, we're turning a dial. So they're using us to figure out, oh, where's all the broken pieces and parts and everything else. And we probably will start seeing some advertising on television and in newspapers and magazines, because the other piece of some of the legislative process was the state now, they have contracted basically with a company to do this, CAA. And what they're supposed to do is advertising statewide. So again, not only is the curbside program the same in all these different locations, but when you are watching the news in Portland, or you're watching the news wherever you happen to be in Oregon, it's the same commercial. Again, trying to keep the material, and the purpose behind that was to try and keep the material as clean as possible. We're adding a lot to it, but we still need to be not wishful recycling. We need to be purposeful recycling. Because when we get into wishful recycling, that's the idea of, well, I'm gonna throw my garden hose and I'm sure someone will figure out how to recycle that. Or I'm gonna throw whatever it happens to be. And we have some of that happens. The contamination rates here in Southern Oregon are very good. And when I say very good, they're around 15% is garbage that's in recycling. You get to some other locations and it's 30 or 40%. So we do a really good job in these communities to try and make sure we're recycling the things that we can. To add a little bit more, plastic bottles no larger than 2 inches in diameter, nursery packaging. So quite a bit. Everything else that we already recycled, all of those things got added to it. And you can go to our website. We have all of this literature on there now, so it's a little bit easier to figure out. We even have an app you can plug and say, hey, what can I recycle? And it will tell you. If we don't have an outlet for it, it will say, oh, I have some clothes. Okay, well, here's 3 or 4 different places you can take textiles to.
Trent, what is nursery packing? Is that plants?
So yeah, what the thing we hear a lot of is, I went to the Grange and I got all these things that I'm gonna plant in my garden. And sometimes I make it to the garden. My wife has never made that stuff to the garden. Throw it away after a while. I see some of you have that same opportunity. But now, when you dump out the dirt and the plant that never did get planted, you can actually put the plastic in the recycling pile.
Thank you.
So this is the entire list, the uniform statewide collection list. So that is everything. We try to show you, like, this is what we already took and here's an addition to it. But if you just wanted to see here's everything in the world, you can see quite a bit can be recycled now. And that is why it was so important for us to build that facility on Redwood Avenue, because our expectation is we're gonna have a little bit of an increase. And when I say a little bit, we're expecting at some point, sometime in the near future, we're not gonna recycle almost 2 million pounds, we're gonna recycle 3 million pounds or 4 million pounds. So we knew we need to have the throughput to be able to continue to be able to recycle that material and have the facility to be able to do it. And we do, so there's no concerns there whatsoever. What'll be interesting is going to be the interplay between cart size of garbage versus recycle. Most of you either have 65s or 95s, they're kind of big carts, and everybody's always asking, why are they such big carts? Pretty soon you're gonna say, can I get another one of those big carts? Or can you come more often, or what does that look like? So those are all the things. Now, the other piece of this process, when I said, hey, we're gonna make the manufacturers responsible to a degree. They have to help put money into the program. They have to verify the material is going to the appropriate location. So now when our material goes up to a Portland plant and they separate it all out and they sell it to some other location, whether it be abroad or not, all of these things have actually been looked, they've looked under the hood to make sure it's not just being dumped out in the ocean. Because they're not trying to just get this plastic, they're trying to do all the right things. So that's an important piece, along with the manufacturers having a responsibility to help pay for advertising, to help pay for the system, to make sure all these things are happening. One of the things that we'll get here in Southern Oregon, and what they wanted to do is say, look, we understand that all this material really has to go to Portland. You have to have a huge amount of volume to make the system work right when you talk about separating it back out. So that's up in Portland. So there is an incentive for us now to say, hey, if you've got to ship it up here, we're going to help pay for that, because it's disingenuous for Southern Oregon to say, hey, we're trying to recycle, but it costs us 3 times the money because we got to send it all the way to Portland. So they're trying to balance the playing field so that we continue to want to recycle. Now, some people will first thing, so that mean our rates going down? We're gonna be cheaper, right? No, not gonna be cheaper. What it helps is it takes some of the pressure off of upward pressure on the rates. So now they're not gonna pay for the drivers that are already out there. They're not gonna pay for the carts that were already there. They're not gonna pay for the routes with the gas or anything else. But if we needed something new, if we said, hey, we gotta start another route because we're so busy, they have the requirements to try, if they have any funding left, to maybe pay for try. Maybe help buy some cars. We in Southern Oregon, with the Fahey family and myself, we have always said we wanted to be as proactive as we can. So when we went to automated, when we went to curbside recycling, we were in Josephine County, one of the first places that had curbside recycling in the county. There's still places in Oregon, if you live in the county, you do not have curbside recycling. That is what this bill also is trying to also accomplish, is to say, look, these areas in these small towns like Rogue River, Gold Hill, that had small communities, but they didn't actually by the state statute have to have recycling. A lot of locations, they just didn't do it. We've done it all along. That's been because we all live in this community. I mean, a lot of these companies, not to say the bigs aren't good, but when the owners live in the community, when they're the ones that look outside and they're your neighbors, it makes a difference. And we say, what's the right thing to do? So we've done that all along. The next big change, and these, so the other thing that we have as a responsibility from the legislative changes is what they call PRO depots. And the PRO is the Producer Responsibility Act. But these new depots are going to accept things that are hard to recycle that didn't get on the curbside list. We actually just got these this last week. They're not open. They're supposed to open on Friday, but they're going to take some material that is not in the curbside program, but might be challenging to recycle. And this is another responsibility of the manufacturer. They got to pay for them. It's been a pleasure. Talk to you, Ryan. Sure. Yeah.
Big spectrum. Around the league, it's just so bad.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yay. I'm glad the good IT guys hard to find these days. Don't let them come to the Friday club, which is a lot better. You probably want to come to the Friday club. So the PRO people, sorry, I have to. They're gonna be hard to recycle material. They're going to take that out of there. To give you an idea, the first one in the state hit Ashland 2 weeks ago. No one else in the state has these yet, and this is also part of we're gonna turn the dial and see what happens, because before they gotta put 50 of these in Portland, they wanna see what 2 of them in Grants Pass look like. So we're gonna have 2 of these locations on our Redwood Avenue location. We'll have 2 of these storage units that they'll be open like our normal recycling hours. And they'll have the material in there. If you go to the next page, I think it has it on there. So now you can put your shredded paper in there. You can put plastic lids, your rigid plastic handles, which is what a lot of 6-packs of maybe colas or maybe beer or whatever, right? Also your plastic buckets and pails can go in there, aluminum foil and trays. Some of these are curbside, but some places don't have a curbside program, so that's why they're there. And the plastic bags and the stretchy plastic. Someone's gonna say, well, what's stretchy plastic?
Everybody's brave.
And the best way I can describe it, if you take a piece of plastic and you kind of hit your thumb on it and it stretches, that's stretchy plastic.
Okay.
So, well, we don't have a lot of some of that material anymore because most of the grocery stores have gone to paper bags, not plastic bags. There's still some of that out there. So this is gonna be an outlet for those materials. Again, that'll be at Redwood Avenue, and they actually, I believe they have one, and they're gonna have one at the Merlin transfer station, for that location. We'll see how that works out. I think there's gonna be some bumps and bruises along the way, because we said, you understand, while we talk about how many people come through our transfer station and recycle center, they don't come in a line even divided by 7 days. They all show up on Saturday and Sunday in between the football games, and so we'll see how it goes. So if you go there and the door's closed because it's full, understand they're still trying to work out all the bugs because they have to come service them. We'll have the ability to move a little bit around, but understand there's gonna be some bumps and bruises along the way. But that's an exciting piece. So since I've been there, and I've been there 30+ years, recycling's changed a lot, and there's been good and bad. We all remember National Store of China saying, hey, we're not gonna take any more material. We had to basically stop recycling, had to start landfilling recycling. Now to where we're saying, look, producer, if you're going to put this much of a bag in a bag of chips and your bag's gonna be this bag, and then you're gonna say, oh, by the way, that can be recycled and it really can't be recycled, we're not gonna accept that anymore. We're gonna make you responsible for it. At least have some skin in the game. So that, in a nutshell, really is some of the changes. Not only is it curbside, the amount of material and the kind of material you put there, but even at depots, there's some material that is challenging to recycle or has been challenging in the past. And now is going to have a location for it. And all of these areas that this material is going into has been verified. So again, we won't have, hey, here's a picture of China where they actually only wanted the cardboard and they just landfilled the rest. And when they say landfill, they just dumped it into a valley. We shouldn't see any more of that with the programs that we have in place in Oregon. And Oregon is one of the states that all the other states are now looking at going, you guys did this, you're way ahead of the game, and we're gonna do it too. Questions?
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful to hear. Yes. Okay.
How about like a spinach container, the plastic, clear plastic, the spinach container, is that what you're talking about? Shells?
Yeah, clamshells, yes, those now can go in either program. They can go on the curbside program, or they can come to the depot if you don't have the curbside program. That was the idea, is to start, well, they know there's a lot of plastic out there. And so what they're trying to do is say, we've just got to make sure there's a place that'll take it. Now you get into some weird, strange plastics that can be a little bit more difficult because they all made a different polymer. But generally speaking, most of any of your food grade plastics are going to be able to be recycled pretty well, pretty easily.
Thank you for that. Yes. Do you have another question, Pat?
If you have Republic Services, do you have to take it over yours, or does that work with?
So
the other side of the room?
So if you have Republic Services, their program is exactly the same as ours. So if you go in your curbside recycling bin for Republic Services, if you happen to live in Merlin, their transfer station and recycle center there in Merlin will have one of these same blue boxes that you can put their material into. Some of that other material that was on that list.
But the blue box will only be in Merlin and at your place.
Correct.
I'm not in Washington Boulevard. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe they're gonna last I heard, they were not going to have one on Washington Boulevard, it was going to be at the transfer site.
Yes.
I got a yes, so,
I
as
said
I
yes.
lie, somebody's
No,
agreeing with
I
me.
said yes.
Oh, yes.
Someday we will all have. Right?
How is this stuff sorted?
Wait.
Don.
I had Republic as well, so their boxes can allow the same things that that SOS does.
I'm gonna make sure their boxes.
They're curbside.
Curbside cards, I think they're brown on this side of
Yeah.
the river. Yes, the program, and that was the whole intent behind it being a statewide program. If you go somewhere else, they may not have rolled it out yet, but anywhere you go in a curbside program in Oregon, you shouldn't theoretically have to know, oh, well, this one's a little different, or here it's just, they're all exactly the same.
Okay, great information, thank you. And then the blue boxes, is there a cost associated with dropping things off at those?
No, not at this time. For our location on Redwood Avenue, and I think it's through, I hate to speak for public services, but the same thing. There is no charge to go through the recycle depots at this time. Now, understand that means it's being subsidized to a degree by other things, but right now you pull in there, you've got a bunch of cardboard, or you have any of these materials, you just go in, put it in there.
Thank you. My daughter up in Portland was a wishful recycler, and it used to absolutely drive me nuts.
These things that go into the tubs at our home that you pick up, how do you sort them? Who sorts them?
So what happens, this is pretty universal until you get closer to Portland. Most locations have a facility like ours. Our truck picks it up, it goes into the truck. Comes to our facility on Redwood Avenue and it gets baled. If you slid back a little ways, you can see, I believe there's a picture of the baler in there. And it basically turns it into a 2,000-pound block of recycling. Those all get loaded into semis. If you've ever been to our recycle depot, you'll see it in the big building that says SOPAC. There's usually a couple semis pulled up to the loading dock. Those semis are either getting cardboard or the curbside recycling material being put into them by forklifts for these 2,000-pound blocks. It then goes north. And it either is going to Springfield or most likely Portland, because there's 2 or 3 facilities there that take all of the material in all of Oregon. They cut those bells open and it starts going down amazing machines that look like assembly lines. And the first one's got people on it picking out stuff that absolutely shouldn't be in there. And then they have actually lasers that can detect when there's plastic, and they have blowers that go pss, 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 and they blow plastic out of there, and they have paper separators, and they're multiple millions of dollars worth of machines that run 20 hours a day with 30 or 40 people working on them to take the materials and separate them out into their different commodities. And then they're sold as, here's all these plastics. Here's strictly cardboard. Here's strictly paper. Here's strictly whatever those materials are. They have electromagnetic pieces that will pull all the metal out, and the that conveyor belt goes this way, where the magnet stops, and it drops down into a pile. They're pretty amazing. They're super expensive, super costly to run. So that's why there's only a handful even in Oregon, because the nature of those machines, you have to have a tremendous amount of material to make it work as a business model.
Now, I heard one time that you take the labels off the tin cans and take the lids off, you don't want the lids on them. Is that, and they have to be cleaned, everything should be cleaned out really well, is that a thing?
So all the others, no, not really. The lids was always a concern, because those become, can you imagine like a ninja star being thrown across the room on these conveyor belts? The clean part, I would say yes. So what you're looking to do is you don't need to send it through your dishwasher, but what they're not looking for is a lot of food particles on it. Even like, we're in a pizza establishment. You can recycle that cardboard, but if they have that piece down there that kind of absorbs some of the food and some of the grease, get that out of there. Because all of that is contamination. And it goes towards that number. And like I said, here in Southern Oregon, we do a really good job of contamination. The further north you go, it gets worse and worse, and you get a lot more wishful recycling, which leads to more contamination. So yeah, that's what I would say. More of the, hey, I've got my can of whatever, I dumped it into the whatever. Now I'm gonna rinse real quick, now yours.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes, and one
Okay.
more question, molded pulp packaging. That is, I'm guessing the sort of paper looking stuff that comes around, electrical. Like tech or electronics. Like it said molded pulp packaging is recyclable.
Yeah, so what you see. No, wait, yeah, some of that would be, hey, I got my iPhone and it had this stuff in it, it looks like paper pushed together 3 or 4 thick. Sometimes you'll look at your egg cartons. That's kind of what they're aiming for on that. So those types of materials, again, looking at what packaging is out there, what we can do with it, what end markets are available. Does that answer that?
I was gonna say, I have seen now on bottles that they say, keep lid on for recycling purposes, so that's something that I've noticed that it says on some of the tops.
Yeah, what I would tell you is on any material that you buy, any consumer product, they're giving you a very generic across the world answer on that. I would really look at the local programs and or like I said, we have an app that will tell you what to do. Because that was actually one of the arguments that the large manufacturers had when we were working on this bill, saying, well, Oregon's not a big enough market, we're not gonna change what we do because of you. And we kept pushing pretty hard and started getting other states to say, yeah, you are, because we're right behind you. Because we were trying to say, as an example, you shouldn't be putting on here that this can be recycled, and you absolutely know this can't be recycled.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Good information. Okay, I did, there's some.
I was just gonna follow up to clarify on the can lids. So is that a no or a yes, or I think you can, okay.
It's kind of wild to think of our recycling as a commodity, right?
Yes.
But, so question, seems like the supply side. What's going into our recycling bin is somewhat stable, except for when you have changes in rules like this, which would drastically increase it. But what about on the other side, on the consumption side, in terms of like, how are those markets developed to be actually using this product? And are there times where there's less demand or more demand, and how is that managed?
Yeah, those are very challenging and difficult questions. I mean, they're good questions. The economy is what it is, so I've seen at times where a bale of cardboard that weighs approximately a ton, they would pay you a couple $100 for. And I've seen them say, if you want me to take that, it's gonna cost you $100. It absolutely is market driven. Now, some of that market is regulated. So when you see something saying, well, this was made with 30% plastic, recycled plastic, it's because someone has a rule that says this has to be made with recycled plastic. So that, well, whether you like that or think it's right or wrong, that those rules out there create some of those markets. But absolutely, the economy is really what turns this bus. And what we have discovered, and I kind of knew it already, there's not a lot of manufacturing here, and certainly, really on the West Coast. So we say, hey, we need to take this cardboard and we need to recycle it and make it into more cardboard boxes. Okay, does anybody know where the closest remanufacturer of cardboard boxes is? I mean, it's just, maybe back east. They just don't do that a lot here anymore, do it in other places. So most of the plastics are actually going overseas to be created into more plastics. And some of that, rightfully or wrongfully, is environmental laws along with everything else. But it all gets driven by when the economy starts really chugging along and everybody's buying a lot of stuff, we need a lot of packaging. When we saw the big hits to the whole housing market crash and everything slowed way down, the whole need for cardboard, for plastics just came right along with it, because it was suddenly, well, I don't need 5,000 boxes, I need 5. Does that answer that? It's a very interwoven, complex answer of regulations and supply and demand.
I think we're trying to bring manufacturing back, huh?
Well, thank you for your presentation. It's very informative. I had a question about operations. What are the challenges that SOS is seeing as far as administrative or legal or labor, things like that as a business you're facing?
Yes. Oh. in the garbage industry, the only thing that's a little unique is we deal a lot with the DEQ. And I would say. That kind of is appropriate, but we are not unlike any other business that has 80 employees and labor issues and supply and demand. I can tell you a story that gives you kind of an idea. When the state of Oregon said, hey, we're gonna regulate that you can't manufacture or sell diesel trucks anymore unless you also are selling electric trucks. That sounds nice. Hey, we're gonna get electric trucks going. I got to the point where I had to be 2.5 or 3 years out to order a truck, or I would not get one. I had the vendors come up to me after we had agreed on and had signed contracts, say it's another $20,000, and if you do anything but give me $20,000, you'll never get another truck. I can tell you now, from when I first started, if we spent over $100,000 on a truck, it was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? I now write checks for $500,000 for a truck. An electric truck would cost me about $980,000. It's about as half effective. It runs that much different than a diesel one. And I'm not here to say electric's better than diesel. Those are all public policy issues that are above my pay grade. But when they made that change, they actually had to revert back because everybody that had diesel trucks said, we can't buy anything. The manufacturers are saying, well, unless somebody comes and buys 7 electric trucks, I can't sell these 40 sitting on my lot. Now they've reverted back a little bit to open that up, which has helped a bunch. But again, those are the things, along with just anybody that has employees does, and have 80 employees. The recent, just all the struggles there. Even the recent highway tax bill that just passed last week, payroll went from 1% to 2%. Overnight. My registrations double, triple, or quadruple. My fuel tax just doubled. All of those things, and I'm not crying about it, but all those things have upward pressure on the rates. At the end of the day, that has to come from somewhere. So I don't think we're unique, other than the DEQ part. But there is a lot of challenges, and as business owners, you guys all know, for every kind of business.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it off. I know there's a couple more questions, but we do have a time limit. I don't want to get the paddle.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, actually. Oh, thank you so much. I can go to your website, right? Or is the app yours? Is it SOS? Okay, even if I get Republic, I think I'm gonna go to yours. I wish I had a choice, but I don't. So, okay, thank you. And with that, I am gonna call up Jolene, because today is Jolene's Sergeant of Arms Day.
Okay, well, you know me, I'm the foodie girl of the group. But today there is like 5 different national days today that we're supposed to celebrate. And today is National Custodial Workers Recognition Day. This one's near and dear to my heart because my dad was a chief custodian in the Tacoma School District in the state of Washington, and I knew how hard he worked. So just if you see a custodian or someone cleaning the floors, just please say thank you for your service because they work hard and they don't get much in the way of thank yous. And then there's from daily commutes to epic road trips. Our cars are more than just machines. They are our trusty steeds, our silent confidants, and our partners in adventure. So why not make it official? Today is National Name Your Car Day. And this is a perfect day to finally give your 4-wheel friend the recognition it deserves. And then right on top of that, happens to be National Seafood Month. So for today, October 2nd, it's National Fried Scallops Day. Serve up seafood, and you can serve up a seafood dish that's enjoyed across the country. The word scallop refers to the common name applied to many species of marine bivalve mollusks in the Pectidina family. Every ocean in the world provides a habitat for these mollusks. And now as you see on the table, there's a whole bunch of Smarties lying around because this is National Smarties Day. Smarties started over 70 years ago as a sweet candy wafer roll. In honor of National Smarties Day, we invite everyone to take a walk down memory lane and enjoy this nostalgic candy. If you've never tried Smarties, this is your chance to become a new member of the Smarty Pants Club. Smarties are a roll of small pastel colored cake tablets that are sweet and a little bit sour. Unlike most candies, Smarties only has 6 ingredients. When it comes to candies, Smarties are considered the smart choice. So, for what doesn't or what is not in Smarties, you will not find any of the 9 major food allergy groups. There's no milk, eggs, fish, crustaceans, shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, soy, and sesame. You won't find those in Smarties. There are 6 different flavors in Smarties. So we're gonna look. I know some of you have probably eaten some. So in there, in some of those packages, you'll find a white Smartie. Can anybody tell me what flavor a white Smartie is?
Gina Marie's favorite.
Vanilla.
I can tell you what it is.
Okay, the white Smarties are orange cream. White. How about the yellow Smarties?
Lemon.
Well, ding, no, wrong. Pineapple. The pink Smarties.
All the percentages.
Anybody have any idea on the pink ones? They're cherry. The green Smarties. Apple, I heard apple. What, somebody said what, strawberry?
No, lime.
Lime, I've heard lime and apple. The green ones are strawberry.
Oh.
This is easy, the purple one. Great. And the orange one?
Orange.
Orange. See, it wasn't that difficult to guess, okay?
Who here has the discerning taste buds?
I yeah. So today is also produce misting day. Didn't you think that was gonna be a day? Given a choice between fresh and tired produce, we choose fresh every time. After all, who wants dried out veggies? National Produce Misting Day gives us the opportunity to appreciate the small but mighty invention of misting our produce to keep it fresher while at the grocery store. So today, say thank you to the hardworking custodians. As you get in your car, give it a name, for example. Give it a name. For example, and she's not here today, Dawn could name her Tesla Electra. Okay. Drive to the store for some scallops and Smarties, and don't forget to mist your hands in the produce section. Okay, it's happy bucks time. Who's got happy bucks? Right over there.
I've got 5 happy bucks to spending a wonderful week in Vancouver, Canada. Well, Point Roberts, if any of you know that, but we were in and out of Vancouver with a 4-month-old grandson and a 3-year-old and 4 more up to 23. And we just had a wonderful time together.
I wrote out, managed that 5 back with my chance to spend time in Portland. That's in Portland, so I had to fly because Ruby, my car, is in the shop. But I flew to Portland and I did enjoy my 3 grandchildren as well.
Okay, he got distracted. Wait, oh, Greg Fishwick's not here today, right? Nobody sees him. Okay. A couple years ago, Greg had a vacancy on his fantasy baseball team and recruited Tim. This year, Tim came in first place. And so that's what we.
And I'm sure you enjoyed the Northwestern game, and didn't you go to a baseball game when you were back there too?
Baseball.
Yes.
So we went to Chicago and Minneapolis, and we were able to go to 3 baseball games: White Sox, Cubs, and Twins. 2 football games, Ducks and Northwestern, Vikings and Falcons, which was a very sad game. 1 WNBA game, Liberty and Sky, and a play at the Goodman Theater in Chicago. So, yeah, all that in 5 days.
Wow.
That is called action packed for sure. So and Dawn got to go to, she's not here right now, but she went to the game at Penn State last time. I look for green.
Okay, I just want to give an update. I think some of you know that my husband's been very sick the last 8 weeks. He almost died a couple times. He's, every time we go to the doctor, we went right to the hospital, so we had a go bag in case we went to the doctor and they directed us there. Anyway, he's had his 3rd chemo treatment yesterday. The doctors are pleased with his numbers and have gone from a chemo a week for a year to 6 weeks to 8 weeks of chemo, and then once a month, and then we can decide. So he has kidney failure, stage 5 kidney failure, and multiple myeloma. But he's on the mend and he's feeling good.
There you go, there you go. That's what I was gonna see next. My hands, what happens up, I like to kind of, oops, just a minute, I'm gonna go through here and get John.
This $1 is from the 40s, which will be worth over $10 today. In the 40s, when they hauled garbage, the truck would go along and there'd be a man out with and he would grab the garbage can and haul it up. And as soon as they got back in the truck, we jump on the back and go for a ride. Other happy bucks is I cannot be here to do the inspiration next week, so you're gonna have to get somebody else to be inspired. And I also want to know about what the water projects are in Mexico, and I think I know the guy that has.
The water projects in Mexico are going very well. Hopefully, when we get down here in November, we'll be able to close those out. We're trying to get it so we can, the rest of the money can be distributed to Rotary de Cosmo. But they've got all of the training done for the schools and it's going very well, and we're probably gonna close that out this year. And then probably next July, we're gonna be recruiting 2 more schools. We're gonna be recruiting 2 more schools before that, and then July of next year, we wanna start 2 more schools down.
I have some happy bucks for Trent and for SOS. My husband has worked for SOS for almost 7 years, I think. And they've treated us so good. My son dressed up as a garbage man for career day this year and wore an SOS shirt and a hat. So the company has treated us really well, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, great, there we go.
Don't do the parts.
Yeah, so I had a couple of us, one for Trent and his company, because they are great community partners. They really step up and help different organizations and do a variety of things like that in community, and they deserve a lot of credit for it, because like he said, when the owners of a business are in town, it really makes a difference. And then a little bit of promotion, Buck. The high school, Gladiol High School, we're building a shed there, and then we have another shed to build in another place, storage shed. We poured concrete yesterday, and if you've ever poured concrete, you know, it can be very stressful when everybody's yelling at you and the concrete's falling off the truck. And you realize it's gonna be really hard really soon, so you gotta get it right. So these kids are just really stressed out, with a couple tears in 1 or 2 people's eyes while we were doing this thing. And then it finally got done and they got flat and everybody stood back and looked at it, and the calm and pleasure on those kids' faces when it's like flat and smooth and it looks good, it's like, oh, it was very satisfying. They really did a good job. So the promotion buck is, though, if you know of anybody who needs a storage shed or might be thinking about a storage shed, we need another project come February-ish for another storage shed, so let me know.
So great to hear about these community builders, for sure, because this is economic and community building month, so thank you for what you do. And lucky card number is?
The 4 of Hearts.
The 4 of Hearts. Well, you are now, Lisa Moody is our winner.
Again.
Oops. Okay, so because we have, of course, Trent here today, I couldn't help but try to find a quote, the thought of the day that brought us back to all the good things that our garbage companies do for the earth. So the first thing I thought of was when I read this one is that in this time of political division, there is a reminder that earth is what we all have in common. So I thought that was good. And my other thought is, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children, the Native American proper. Have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you next Thursday.